welcome to the Smart Connection. I'm Dahlia Miller, and with me here today is Marianne Martin. Marianne, you've got an honors degree in geography and English, as well as your teaching diploma, and you've taught for quite a number of years, English especially, geography as well. But you're here to talk to us today about steps for how to write an essay.
Okay. Obviously, the first thing to do is to distribute the question.
Okay, so you're suggesting that the students really need to know what the question is.
Exactly. And obviously, there are certain key words within the question that need to be explained. And it leads to detailed work with what exactly does the question mean, or what does the statement mean. And then obviously the next step would be, what is the statement or question asking you to do?
Like describe
or compare, contrast, analyze, and there are a whole host of keywords like that.
Right, so we need to understand what those words mean and what people are asking for besides the rest of the question.
That's correct.
Okay, yeah.
And then once that is established, you go on to look at how are you going to actually answer this statement or this question.
Okay.
If you can follow the process, it generally works. I mean, obviously you have to tweak things as you go through it.
I think the key there that you said is this process works, but you have to follow.
You have to follow the process.
Because here are the tools, you have to use them.
Yes, you can't say, oh, I've looked at this and I've committed it to memory and we can now throw away the paper.
Right.
No, that doesn't work.
So process, and so we start, the first part of the process is understand the question, think about how you're going to answer the question.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then there are a series of steps that you can take to begin your organization and your collection of material.
Okay.
Okay, and what I often say is, if you're comparing two, let's say two short stories, is that you read it and reread it and you highlight information that you think you will need for this question. And then I use index cards, and a lot of people do, and what I have suggested in the past is that you take jot form notes on these index cards and file them in order from starting at 1 to however many pieces of information you need.
And so you're saying index cards like you have here for these notes, could they be different colors?
Yes, probably that would work better than plain white, because then you can focus in on a specific question or a specific issue that you have to deal with, and all of your information about that question or issue will be on one set of colored cards.
Okay, and for upgrades in technology, I guess there probably are applications for...
I don't know. I'm not a techie person.
People could be doing this electronically.
Yes, they probably could be.
Okay.
Okay. Then when you're taking notes on whatever aspect you have to deal with, look for words or phrases that are key points to the answer to the question that you have to work with, or the statement that you have to work with.
Okay.
And once you've done that, you can move on to whatever kind of essay style or essay type that you want. I mean, there are probably 20 different kinds of essay types. And once you have been explained to in class what this essay type is, then you will be able to design your index cards to fit into that kind of information.
So all of this is done before you even start?
Oh, well before you even think about writing.
So you understand the question, you think about the material, really understand the material and how the material can answer the question.
That's correct.
And then what kind of essay am I going to be writing?
Yes.
Okay.
And as I said, there are different varieties of essays, and your teacher will have already explained to you,
Right.
or your tutor will have already explained to you
Right.
how this is to be done.
Gotcha.
Then you choose your essay structure, whether it's a 3-paragraph essay or the common type is a 5-paragraph essay.
Right.
Starting with paragraph 1 is your introduction, what you're going to be telling the reader that you're intending to write about.
Okay, now you don't just mean the teacher here.
No, I'm talking about anybody that's going to read this particular piece of work.
Mm-hmm.
It could be your teacher, it could be another student,
Mm-hmm.
it could be a friend, it could be a parent.
And I think that works well for extensions on essay writing, because we're learning how to write an essay for the future use
Well, that's
of
it.
essays.
It's not only just for English,
Right.
it's for any course that requires essays to be written. And especially when you've been in the university, this guideline does work.
So we need to know who are you writing?
Well, you can't
whom
really
are you-
design it for the reader. That's not the purpose of the essay. The purpose of the essay is to answer the statement, or to deal with the statement or the question that's
Okay.
asked. But it should flow in a sense so that anybody can read it and understand it.
Gotcha. Okay, so we're thinking of it, how readable is my
Yes,
essay?
exactly.
How well am I conveying the information?
That's correct.
Okay.
So in your introduction, a thesis statement, that usually tells the reader, whoever that reader may be, what you're going to be writing about.
Thesis statement.
Yeah,
What
or
am I
an introductory sentence.
Okay.
I call it a thesis statement. It's
Mhm.
just something that I
Mhm.
have used for years.
Mhm.
Then, if it's a topic that requires, say, anywhere from 3 to 6 distinctions,
Mhm.
then you introduce those distinctions within that paragraph, or those topics within that paragraph. Examples? No, not at this stage.
Okay, so paragraph 1 is for the topic, the thesis.
And the introduction of the topics, and then if there's an argument required, it's at this point when you introduce that argument.
So this is where you say, this is what I'm going to be talking about.
Exactly.
Okay. You don't talk about it yet, you just say,
No,
this is what I'm
this
going
is
to talk
what this is the, well, obviously the vocabulary will tell you, tell the reader what it is you're intending to do, but you do not explain in detail what examples you're going to use to write this essay.
Okay, that comes
That comes later.
Okay.
Okay. And then, of course, the last sentence should be what we call a linking sentence to your first paragraph, so that the flow from the introduction starts in paragraph 2.
Right, so there's a link
There has to be a link or connection
between
paragraphs.
Okay.
Otherwise, it doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then, obviously, in the second paragraph, you're dealing with the first topic of discussion, and you are offering examples to prove your point or your argument.
Mm-hmm.
And then you need a linking sentence to the next paragraph, which will connect the ideas mentioned in the second paragraph to the ideas that you're going to talk about in the third paragraph.
And this is typically called the body of the
The
essay,
essay,
right?
that's correct.
So we've got the introduction and then the
Body, and then the conclusion, but
Okay.
we'll deal with that in a minute. And every subsequent paragraph will deal with a specific topic of discussion and examples, and then again have a linking sentence
Okay.
to whatever follows after that.
So in that 5-paragraph essay, this.
Okay, you'll have 1 paragraph of an introduction, 3 paragraphs of discussion, and then the last one will be a wrap-up or a conclusion.
Okay, and the 3 paragraphs of discussion, it's 1 point per paragraph, one main
Usually 1 point per paragraph,
Okay.
depending on what the question or the statement requires.
Right, that makes sense.
Okay, and then the last point is, or the last area of an essay is your conclusion or your wrap-up. And what the first thing is that you should be thinking about is, how am I going to reinforce my thesis statement or my topic sentence? And these are some of the things to consider while you're doing that. And the first one is review all of the main points that you've mentioned in paragraphs 2, 3, and 4, as well as you could repeat the argument or the main idea using different vocabulary than you used in the previous paragraphs.
So you're not just parroting yourself.
No, that's exactly what you don't want to do. Because whoever is looking at this is thinking, oh, the same thing again.
How boring when somebody says
this is really boring.
So say the same thing but in a different way.
Tone or a different way.
Okay.
And then if it asks for your opinion, this is the point at which you introduce it.
Okay.
All right? And then, of course, the final sentence may be a quotation. It may be something provocative for the reader to think about, or it just may be something of your choice.
Okay. I've heard it described sort of like you start very generally, you come to the more specific, there's one line that goes right from the beginning to the end, and then you come back out again to the
That's correct. If you want to use, I think of what is it, an egg timer?
Oh.
Where the information is general and then it becomes specific, and then at the bottom, you are reiterating using different words, and even different sentence structure to refer back to what you started.
But the whole thing has to have one, like a plug.
It has to have a connecting force.
And if that center is nice and straight,
Tight.
it's not going off in different directions. It's just
not.
It's following the same line of reasoning, the same argument, whatever you're trying to prove.
Exactly.
Okay. It's been a pleasure talking with you, and I really appreciate you laying these out for us. And hopefully they'll be of assistance to students in their writing process.
I hope so too.
Okay. Thanks
very much.